how you try to record, something goes sideways. It just me. Alright, we need to do this because I keep finding more yarn. Episode 2, let's begin stash busting, yarn curation, hoard fixing, make do mend sort of concept. There are many words to describe and to identify or label the idea of using the yarn you already have over going to buy new yarn every time. So these are big projects. I didn't think it would be a small project. And now that I'm in it, it's a lot larger than I thought it was going to be. Let us break down what it is we're going to cover. We're going to do the rules, things I have arbitrarily designed for myself to give this some sort of structure. My embarrassingly large total of yarn and how I got there. First steps, first plans, and sort of the first goal setting for this whole idea. So we got 3 sections. Let's see what we can do. If you don't know me, I'm Jocelyn. If you're new, hi. If you've seen me in other places on the internet, I'm also known as Half of the Northern Knits podcast. I am friends with Louise of Wild Wool. What is it? Wildflower Wool. And I am a independent or indie knitting and crochet designer. So I am also legally bland. I am legally bland. I am legally blind, which makes me visually disabled. I am proudly owned by a cat who has been the primary source of trouble for recording today. And I currently call the Canadian prairies home. So, rules. Straight up. Rule number 1, I am allowed to buy more yarn. Full stop. I am never going to say I cannot do that. That's a recipe for disaster. It's just not going to work. I need to try to only be purchasing yarn if it serves a specific purpose. However, I'm not going to say no to the pretty skein that's got to come home. I'm just not that kind of a human. Rule the second. How to phrase this. There is no I want to be down to 100 skeins of yarn or 50 skeins of yarn or sort of end goal. I want all of my yarn to fit within a physical space. It's my physical space. I want there to be space for some growth. And most importantly, I want to take a serious hard look at the yarn that I have. If I don't want to cast it on as I go through this project or go through this process, I guess process. If I don't want to cast on the yarn when I run across a project that would be perfect for the yarn, I need to then commit to myself and to the internet to let that yarn go. To say, cool, and add it to a to gift pile or to donate section and let that find a home with someone who's going to use it. So the totals are going to fluctuate and vary. Literally, as I sat down to start recording this at the beginning of today, I have found 2 more spaces where I have not counted yarn, so the totals are going up still. And that's fine. That's not the part that I'm worried about. I don't need to. I want to. I want to be able to open up a smaller than I currently have selection of yarn and be incredibly happy with all of the colors that I see in there, all of the weights of yarn that I have in there, and have a very good idea of what I could insta cast on, minus a swatch, insta cast on to create things as they catch my attention. Rule the third. Don't tell my mom. No, that's not a rule. My mom is absolutely going to know my total really quickly. Rule number 3 is I am not going to count works in progress. So as it stands right now, anything that already has a project bag because it is in a current whip or is set aside in the design bag of doom, I will not be counting. Those are specifically called for something, and for the moment I am pretending that that quantity of yarn as is stands separate from the collection we're going to be talking about. It's a lot. All right. So super loose in mind. How did we get here? I love watching stash busting videos. I love watching people organize their yard collection. I love participating and watching people wrapping around the idea of a make, do, and mend, or like crafting responsibly or resourcefully, or using any sort of arbitrarily something they've decided as a way of corralling what it is that they're attempting to do. A lot of it comes from the fact that I have been slowly making my way towards a handmade house. The goal is really to have as much of my house, or I guess suppose the things in my house or apartment, being items that have their either have been handcrafted or I have made, and limit how much I am purchasing. Not because I don't want to participate in capitalism. I enjoy a good participation in capitalism, but I want to be spending my money on small small stores, indie dyers, independent fabric, like that sort of idea. So I want to find the balance in between the two. I'm always going to be purchasing some pre-made things. I'm always going to have some stuff that I don't want to craft, that I will be bringing to the house separately, and that's fine. That's a level or person, like everybody who chooses to do this sort of concept or live this sort of lifestyle has to figure out where those lines are drawn. And I certainly can go more in depth with how I made certain decisions on certain things if you guys want me to. In the realm of knitting and crafting, I have finally learned to accept the idea that I absolutely really don't wear worsted weight garments. I have a few worsted weight garments. I do wear them. I do enjoy them, but they're not a go-to reach item for me. So I need to make sure that while I use up the worsted weight that I currently have, I do not buy any more. I will make the caveat exception that if I'm bringing worsted weight in to do blankets or to do amigurumi, I cannot say it faster than that. If I do not spit it out correctly. Or, super wild and crazy things like the toadstool crochet hat. Uh, I'll put a link down below for that because it's a hat. Otherwise, I want to get down to the point where what I have in my collection is DK weight, fingering weight, potentially more lace weight, but probably not, mostly fingering and DK weight yarn. DK Sport, pretty much the same. Fingering to light fingering, roughly the same. So there's some wiggle room. I won't say I'll never not craft another worsted weight sweater. It's entirely possible I will at some point. However, for the moment, I don't feel it's necessary. So I do want to eliminate as much of my worsted weight oddments leftovers that I have as best as I can. It's not going to be perfect, and that's fine. I had to break this up into something I could manage. Oh my god. We started by counting the full skeins of yarn. So my full skeins of yarn exist on shelves. They have ball bands, and they were just a straight up count. Most are 100 grams a piece. Ones that were over 100 grams were all marked down, and they all have their own sort of column Google Doc. I'm super fancy, guys. I literally used a Google Doc and a math calculator on my phone to do all of the math for this. So I counted them all up. I had them separated into very broad categories, such as fireweed fiber co yarn. I have a whole shelf worth. I have a whole shelf worth. My minis. I counted every single one of my minis, and I did the math to figure out how many full skeins that would be. I weighed all of my scrap bits and bobs. I weighed all of my fingering weight yarn that isn't fireweed fiber co. I weighed all of the sweater quantities still in bags. I weighed the DK. I weighed the worsted. I weighed the bulky. Well, okay. I didn't have to weigh the totally tubular yarn. It's still a full skein. I just wrote down that I had a full skein of it. It took a while. It took a very long while. Some of the titles are interesting. For the math, the calculation, the odds. I literally like the soft, dark colored box here behind me with like the beige colored handle. Just has fingering weight oddment yarn, like leftover partial skeins. That is, I'm not entirely sure it's all not fireweed fabrico. I think some of it is fireweed fabric. No, some of it is definitely fireweed fabrico, but I don't know where all of it came from. So it all went in there. It all went in there. I have some very old partial skeins in there. I have project bags, which had to be counted separately because they're not currently on the needles, therefore they are not currently a whip, so they had to be counted. I have this big old tote, which I literally called the worsted weight tote of doom. That's just all acrylic leftover yarn. That is partial skeins of acrylic yarn, and the bag on top is partial skeins of acrylic yarn. I have a lot of yarn. I have a laundry bag size worth of Briggs and Little in the worsted. Keeping in mind, I have been puttering away with this for 3 weeks, weighing all of this yarn, 3, 4 weeks weighing all this yarn. I have found yet more yarn to weigh and add to the collection. I don't think I'll ever be done. At this point, it feels like I will always be finding more yarn to weigh and put in. But all right, we have some totals. We have a starting point, and I'm going to, yeah, it's a thing. I weighed by the gram. I separated it out by weight. I did a rough yardage, but what really sort of matters is the number of skeins to me. I really want to bring down the overall number of skeins. I have 368.43 skeins of yarn. I literally have like another 12 to 20 skeins to add to that total, but that's okay. That's not the point right now. The point right now is I nearly have 400 skeins of yarn. Okay, we need to work on that. So, wow. At certain moments when you start large projects, you think to yourself, what have I done? Oh, what have I got myself into? Okay, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. If I can watch other people do this on the internet, I can do this on the internet. Holy schnickerdoodles. Things we're going to focus on. To start with, I'm going to focus on the acrylic worsted weight scraps. Now, again, I said earlier that I wanted to get rid of, that's the wrong wordage. I want to use up and find homes for the worsted weight yarn that I have. That is of a high priority. I want to almost entirely eliminate that from my collection. I will still have worsted weight skeins. They'll serve very specific purposes or they won't come in the house. Amigurumi, Halloween things, epically large, just fun fantasy objects. So I'm not going to say I'm never going to have worsted. I am going to say that I'm not buying worsted weight anymore to do sweaters. I figure I'll focus in on that first because that is for me a hard line. Like I want to use up this yarn and have it be gone from my apartment essentially. For sure, I'm going to be starting a blanket or two. For sure, I'm going to be doing a floor rug to go under my rocking chair as my dad handcrafted me a rocking chair. He's a carpenter by trade. And I really want to put one of those like scraptastic circular rugs underneath it. So I do have some plans for upcoming projects. I also currently have some projects on the go right now that are scrap busting projects. That's exactly what they were designed to be. So, like, I have the Fiddly Bits cowl on the go right now. It literally uses scrap ends of figuring weight yarn, and you just essentially knit a long tube so you get a double wrap long tube cowl. I'm absolutely making one of those. It's actually quite relaxing and fun. I'm making a Scrappy V t-shirt sweater. It's fingering weight t-shirt, probably t-shirt. I'm using one-off skeins for my Fireweed Fiberco fingering weight collection, and I paired them all together into a set that I liked. And I'm like a number of inches away from the bottom of the body. I don't know. I'd have to go measure it. I think I have to do another repeat and a half or two repeats of the color rotation. I make coasters. I love doing throws. Alt Knots is doing a wonderful Halloween crochet along where she's got this beautiful, wonderful Halloween pattern picked out for everybody to do. I don't specifically want it. It's not a thing that fits into the theme or the vibe of my apartment. But she did say in her like announcement video that if you just wanted to make a striped version and like crochet along with them, you were like super welcome to join. So I was like, ooh, I've got some wonderful jewel fall toned colors. That would make a great striped blanket. Chilling in that big old tote. My niece is graduating high school next year. I should make her a blanket. Graduation's a pretty big deal. High school graduation's a pretty big deal. So I think like maybe I do wear a 10 stitch blanket. So good. I got some ideas on the back burner that I want to do, and I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. If you guys got suggestions for me, let me know. I love a good enabling, but I do think we've got the start of a plan. Hopefully, I can be slightly more productive than I have been up till now on this because it's July. It's well into the middle of July, and I need to get some stuff done and started. I'm gonna go create me a Ravelry bundle because I love me a Ravelry bundle. I'm gonna do some Ribbler searching, and I'm going to see if I can track down some more projects that I can pull from as inspiration to help use up my scraps. Whew. Again, I do want to keep to the idea that I absolutely want to get as rid of much of my worsted as possible. I do want to lower that total count because it's over 300 skeins of yarn. I have a lot of yarn. You know what I need to find? I need to find cute tote patterns and like backpack patterns to make like knitting project bags and stuff. Oh my God, I need to do that. Okay. I don't think coming up with ideas is going to be the hard part. I think the hard part's going to be crafting. Wish me luck. I already have a lot of stuff on my plate for July, and a lot more coming in real quick. If there's anything specific you guys would like to know about this sort of madcap, fly by the seat of my pants, can I work for my stash first adventure, let me know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna get it all out for you guys. Hopefully, I see you guys at other places on the internet. And if you enjoy this, feel free to like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know if there's something you would like to know about how I craft, either as a visually impaired person or as someone who has made the commitment to essentially not buy pre-made clothing or pre-made household items. What, especially if you guys want me to like deep dive into where I draw that line, like what I will purchase, what I won't purchase, and how I made those decisions. So next time I see you guys, I think we should talk ancient Greek chieftains and hand sewing, because of course, let's put more hobbies in here. Have a good day, stay safe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.